Dear students, we have been discussing the various methods of insect pest control, and amongst these, one is the use of botanicals or plant-based insecticides for the control of insect pests. And during my previous discussions on botanical insecticides used for insect control, we have discussed about nicotine and pyrethroids, which have been employed for the control of insect pests. And today, in continuation to the same, I would be discussing another chemical which is obtained from plant, that is rotenone. Plants containing rotenone and allied alkaloids were in use as fish poisons in tropical areas for many centuries. So they were initially used as fish poisons. Rotenone is one of the principal toxic ingredients found in the roots of leguminous plants, particularly Derris, Loncocarpus and Tephrosia. Now these are the trees, the roots of which comprise of this particular chemical, that is rotenone. Several species of these plants are found in India. Rotenone is harmless to plants. It is highly toxic to many insects and relatively harmless to mammals. Therefore, it is of much use as a botanical or plant-based insecticides. Pure rotenone is white crystalline solid, insoluble in water but soluble in many organic solvents. When exposed to light and air, rotenone decomposes, it changes its color and results in non-insecticidal products. This change occurs in about 10 days in insecticidal residues on plants. Rotenone, although a contact poison, is also useful as a stomach poison. It is believed to act as a respiratory poison. Rotenone containing insecticides are used as in the form of dusts and spray. As I've already told you that this is the method we employ for any chemical insecticides, and these are actually the formulations, and the formulations usually comprise of the toxic substance and a carrier or a dilutant. So when this rotenone is applied in the form of a dust, it comprises of 0.5 to 1% of only this toxic substance, that is a rotenone, and rest of it is the dilutant, which could be talc, clay, gypsum, etc. When it is applied as a spray, it is used as a suspension in water. This would be a suspension because it is not soluble in water, rather it is soluble in organic solvents, as I told you earlier. So if we try to use the finely ground powder of the roots, it will only make a suspension in water. Detergent or powdered soap is added to act as a spreading agent because it is a suspension. It is also formulated as solutions in refined petroleum oils. Rotenone in dust form is very good for disinfecting domestic animals of their external parasites such as lice and fleas. Residues of rotenone remain toxic for about 10 days, but these are not toxic to higher animals. Because of this property, rotenone can be applied near harvest time. So because the toxicity remains for about 10 days, as I've already told you earlier, and then it changes or decomposes into non-toxic substances, and further it is non-toxic to higher animals, so it can be used or applied anytime and even near harvest time. Besides rotenone, other rotenoids present in root extracts of these plants are eleptone, sumatrol, etc. The role of these in determining toxicity of crude rotenone is largely unexplored. These alkaloids have not been explored whether they are toxic to insects or not, but yes, rotenone is definitely. Now this is the chemical formula. It comprises C23H228 and O6. The structure is a very complex one. Rotenone is insecticidal compound that occurs in the roots of Loncocarpus species in South America, Derris species in Asia, and several other related tropical legumes. Commercial rotenone was at one time produced from Malaysian Deres. Currently, the main commercial source of rotenone is Peruvian Longocarpus, which often is referred to as cube root. Rotenone is extracted from cube roots in acetone or ether. Now, these are the solvents because it is soluble in organic solvents. Extraction produces 2 to 40% rotenone resin, which contains several related but less insecticidal compounds known as rotenoids. The resin is used to make liquid concentrates or to impregnate inner dusts or other carriers. Most rotenone products are made from the complex resin rather than from purified rotenone itself. Alternately, cube roots may be dried, powdered and mixed directly with an inert carrier to form an insecticide dust. Mode of action: rotenone is a powerful inhibitor of cellular respiration, the process that converts nutrient compounds into energy at the cellular level. In insects, rotenone exerts its toxic effects primarily on nerve and muscle cells, causing rapid cessation of feeding. Death occurs several hours to a few days after exposure. Rotenone is extremely toxic to fish and is often used as a fish poison, as I have already told you earlier, and initially also this was used as a fish poison in water management programs. It is effectively synergized by these are the two compounds. This is piperonyl butoxide, that is symbolized as PBO or MGK. Now MGK has got a very long name, so this is commonly known as MGK264. These are synergistic compounds which, when added with rotenone, they increase the activity or the insecticidal activity of the chemical, that is rotenone. Mammalian toxicity. Although rotenone is a potent cell toxin, mammals detoxify ingested rotenone efficiently via their liver enzymes. As with parathrins, rotenone is a more toxic by inhalation than by ingestion. Exposure to high doses may cause nausea, vomiting, muscle tremor, and rapid breathing. Very high doses may cause convulsions followed by death from respiratory paralysis and circulatory collapse. Direct contact with rotenone may be irritating to skin and mucous membranes. So these are certain symptoms which one can see if there has been a toxicity to mammals. Treatment of poisoning is symptomatic. So if there are certain symptoms like this, if they are seen in mammals, then treatment is imperative. It requires treatment. Chronic exposure to rotenone may lead to liver and kidney damage. Although some rodent testing has shown that chronic dietary exposure to rotenone may induce tumor formation, the most recent US EPA registration standard considers rotenone to be a non-carcinogenic, that is, doesn't form any such sort of cancers. Rotenone is one of the more acutely toxic botanicals. As a matter of comparison, pure unformulated rotenone is more toxic than pure carbaryl or malathion to commonly used synthetic insecticides. In the form of 1% dust, rotenone possesses roughly the same acute hazard as the commonly available 5% 7 dust. Commercial rotenone products have presented little hazard to man over many decades. Neither fatalities nor systemic poisonings in humans have been reported in relation to ordinary use. So because there are no fatalities or systemic poisoning, so commercial rotenone is not harmful to mammals, doesn't have a mammalian toxicity, and it can be used very safely against insect pests. Thank you.